You know that feeling when you're on a trip and everything is just perfect? The views, the vibe, it feels like you just stumbled into some magical place. Well, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. It's not magic. It's a plan, a really, really intricate blueprint. So let's pull back the curtain and see how your perfect holiday is actually built. Just look at this. That's the moment, right? The feeling of pure adventure, of being somewhere completely new. It's what we're all looking for when we travel. But here's the thing we almost never think about. That moment didn't just happen. It's the end result of years, sometimes decades, of planning and design, all carefully engineered to feel totally spontaneous. So, that leads us to the big question, doesn't it? If these incredible travel experiences are built, not just discovered, then what in the world does that blueprint actually look like? Well, that's exactly what we're here to do. Let's break it down. Okay, so just like building a house, you can't just start throwing up walls. You need a solid foundation. And in the world of tourism planning, that foundation is all about one thing: knowledge. You have to understand the land, the place itself, and just as importantly, who's going to be visiting the place you're about to build. Step one is basically a full-on investigation, the area survey. Planners become detectives. They look at everything. The geography, right? Are we talking about the epic mountain terrain of Salukambu or the flat, grassy plains of Chitwan in Nepal? Totally different. Then they dig into the local culture, check out the roads, the airports, and the really critical stuff, like conservation zones. What you end up with is this complete picture, a full inventory of all the assets and all the potential challenges. And this is really where the magic starts. It's not just about making a list of mountains and rivers. A truly great plan gets the story of a place. For instance, a survey wouldn't just say, mountains here. It would uncover this incredible cultural richness of a specific trekking route. And suddenly, that's not just a fact, it's the main attraction. It becomes the very thing you absolutely have to protect and share with the world. Okay, so you've got a handle on the place itself. Now for part two of the foundation, the people. Who are the visitors? Why are they coming here? And what do they actually want to do when they get here? This is where the market survey comes in, and it's all about digging into the data on the tourists themselves. And here's where we get to the juicy stuff, the hard data. Take a look. For Nepal in 2024, you can see a massive number of visitors coming from India, right next door. But then you've also got huge numbers from the US and China. For a planner, this kind of info is pure gold. It tells them exactly who their audience is, where to aim their marketing, and helps them figure out what kinds of experiences each group is probably looking for. Now, if we zoom out a little, this chart gives us the bigger picture. You can see that more than half of all visitors are from Asia. But look, you've still got really solid numbers coming from Europe and the Americas. So what does that tell a planner? It tells them they can't just offer one thing. They need a whole menu of options, from intense mountain treks to chill cultural tours. But how do you juggle all that? Well, that's where the real strategy begins. All right, so you've done your homework, you know the place, you know the people. Now comes the really tricky part, the balancing act. Because modern tourism planning isn't just about getting more and more people to show up. It's about smart, sustainable growth. And that whole idea rests on three crucial pillars. Pillar number one is the physical. And this is a big one. It's all about protecting the reason people want to come in the first place. The stunning landscapes, the crystal clear water, all the unique wildlife. If you don't protect that, well, the whole thing falls apart. It's the absolute bedrock of everything. Next up, pillar two, the social. And this is so important because tourism doesn't just happen on a postcard. It happens in real towns with real people. So this pillar is all about respecting the local culture, making sure the community actually benefits, and, critically, not overwhelming them. Planners have a term for this: social carrying capacity. Basically, it's about making sure tourism feels like a friendly guest, not an uninvited party crasher. And finally, pillar three, the economic. Let's be real, it has to make financial sense. So this pillar looks at how tourism can create good jobs, bring in revenue, and help local businesses thrive. The key here is making sure those economic benefits actually spread throughout the community and don't just end up in a few pockets. So, you see, it's this constant balancing act between these three pillars, and getting that balance right is everything. If you nail it, tourism can create amazing jobs and even help bring cultural traditions back to life. But if you get it wrong, yikes. It can turn culture into a cheap souvenir, make life unaffordable for locals, and create a huge gap between the rich and the poor. It's a real tightrope walk for planners. So, with all that foundational research done, and with those three pillars as their guide, it's finally time to draw up the actual blueprint, the tourism master plan.
This is the long-term vision for the destination. But the way we think about these plans has totally changed over the years. Back before the 60s, it was pretty much a free-for-all. Then, by the 90s, sustainability was the big buzzword. But today, we're pushing even further to this really cool idea called regenerative tourism. The goal isn't just to not mess things up, but to actually leave a place better than you found it. How amazing is that?
And this planning happens on every single level you can imagine. Think of it like zooming in on a map. You start way out at the international level with things like visa policies. Then you zoom into the national level. That's the big master plan. Zoom in again to the regional level, connecting different areas, even closer to a specific destination. And finally, you zoom all the way down to the site plan for one single hotel. They all have to work together.
But look, a perfect plan is totally useless if it just gathers dust on a shelf, right? So now we get to the final and maybe the toughest part, making it all happen. It's time to turn that vision into a reality. And this is absolutely a team sport. You've got the public sector, that's the government, setting the rules of the game and building the big stuff like roads and airports. Then you have the private sector, your hotels, airlines, and tour companies who bring the money and the new ideas. And then, and this is so crucial, you have the local community, the real heart of it all. They're the ones running homestays and protecting their own amazing culture. Now, to make sure this whole machine keeps running smoothly, planners have a whole toolkit. They put in quality and safety standards, they launch marketing campaigns to bring in the right kind of visitors, and they are constantly monitoring what's happening, tracking the good and the bad, and using that info to tweak the plan. It's not a one-and-done deal, it's a living, breathing process. Okay, so we've walked through the entire blueprint, from the first survey all the way to making it happen. But what's next? Where is this all going? And maybe the biggest question of all, where do you fit into this picture? Like we touched on before, the real future of travel, the big idea on the horizon, is this concept of regenerative tourism. The goal is shifting. It's no longer enough just to sustain a place. The new mission is to actively make it better. Imagine leaving a place with a healthier environment, a stronger community, and a more vibrant culture just because you visited. That's the future. And that, right there, is where it all comes full circle, back to you. Because every single choice you make when you travel, the hotel you pick, the shop you buy from, the way you interact with people, it's like casting a vote for the kind of tourism you want to see in the world. You are not just a consumer, you're a key player in this whole plan. So the question I'll leave you with is this: how are you going to participate?